Alright, so we're coming back to Tsurugi taking on this old first grader sorcerer guy, because in the previous chapter we saw that the team was investigating this strange occurrence of this first grader who kept coming back year after year as like a facsimile of themselves. And once they went to go investigate it, they thought at first, oh, this is just a kid who saw his mom die and like accidentally created like this Shikigami curse technique out of it, similar to what had happened with Okkotsu and Rika. And that allowed him to like keep repeating the first grade as a way of like dealing with the trauma, I suppose. And as we'll come to find out in this chapter, that is partly true, but it's not a little kid. It's actually like this old guy who is literally murdering families, I guess in order to take their skin to fuel this curse technique so that he can keep being a first grader over and over again. And in the very beginning of the chapter here, we're seeing this girl like calling to her mom because the things in her room are like levitating. And at first you're supposed to think like, oh, is her curse technique awakening or something? But I don't think that's what it is. I think it's what's going on with Maru, who we see unconscious here, and we'll come back to that at the end. At the end of the previous chapter, Maru was somehow like incapacitated by the old first grader sorcerer guy. And he's going to be MIA in this chapter until like the very last panel. So as we go through this chapter, we see a really great fight between Tsurugi and this old sorcerer. We find out that the name of this is Maternal Wraith's Fury Marmalade Boy. But it essentially works with this guy having this Shikigami who like defends him autonomously and uses like huge threading needles, can like manipulate his appearance using other people's flesh, as well as making like other flesh puppets for him using its skin or whatever, flesh. But as they continue to fight, this old guy like starts to like repeat what he's saying in like a weird way. And it makes Tsurugi think that he's essentially going senile or experiencing dementia or something like that, which the verdict is still out. But it does seem like there's a bit of that going on here because this guy does appear to be very, very old. I guess that explains essentially what is ultimately happening here. It's as Tsurugi says, wait, the cause of this whole incident is an elderly curse user who just went senile and lost control? I mean, I guess that's what it is. I mean, he says that his name is Masaki Takeda in the previous chapter, and maybe that's the truth. I don't really know. But I guess the explanation of how this curse technique, Shikigami thing came to be is maybe the truth, because he said in the previous chapter, 3 years ago, I went home, found my mom on the floor. I didn't want to be in a different class in the second grade, so I begged my mom to let me stay in the first grade forever. Mom became a ghost, and she made it so that I could be a first grader forever. I guess that's how it came to be, because that is what Takeda, Masaki, whatever, is doing. But I don't think it happened 3 years ago. It probably happened like 80 years ago or something. Which, wow, if that is the case, then that means that he was around during the actual first series timeline. But continuing in the fight, we see Tsurugi use new Shadow Style Simple Domain Maculation, which I don't think we've seen that variant of it before. This is like a new variation of it. You know, 60 years in the future, things have changed. But Takeda observing this gives us some very valuable exposition, because he says, hang on, is this brat from one of the big 3 clans? Of course, he's from the Zenin. So he's got a heavenly restriction that traded his cursed energy for incredible physical abilities. He uses the cursed energy channeled into his cursed tool to perform new Shadow Style. Pretty darn impressive. So I guess that's it. It's confirming that Tsurugi does have heavenly restriction. And I know that there's probably been some translators or super hardcores on Reddit or Twitter that already knew this by directly translating the Japanese text for themselves, but going off of this is the first time I think it has been confirmed that he actually has heavenly restriction and not something in between or whatever. And the way that he's using simple domain maculation through the sword itself is kind of cheating. At least given the rules that Gege established in the first series. And that being said, since Gege did make the rules, he can just do whatever he wants with them. Because Takeda says he uses the cursed energy channeled into his cursed tool to perform new Shadow Style. Technically, you shouldn't be able to do that. If you have heavenly restriction, you shouldn't be able to manipulate cursed energy at all, even like through a tool. You can activate the tool because that's how it works, but the tool also has like that fire ability into it. So that means that he is now going in between techniques in the sword. Like, how do you do that? Is there like a button you're pressing? I don't think so. I guess he's just doing what he wants because Gege changed the way that this works, I guess, maybe. And also, if you feel that I am wrong and stupid, please let me know in the comments. I'm not mad at it. I think it's awesome. I would love to see more of Heavenly Restriction users using cursed tools. I mean, that's why we all love Toji and I guess Maki to an extent. But the way that maculation works is just how the other, simple domains that we've seen, such as like Miwas and Kusakabe's, like if you come into that domain, you essentially activate the auto trigger effect of it to where they're either going to like slice you or defend against you or whatever. But with Tsurugi here, he's kind of doing both. Like once you enter it and it triggers the effect of it, he becomes so proficient that he's effortlessly fighting off both Takeda and Maternal Wraith's Fury, which I guess is the name of this Shikigami. Then after that, we see a curtain is activated to cover this area, and it is Mino activating it, which is funny because in the previous chapter we were saying like, oh, I guess he's just the replacement for Ichiji, and yeah, he is. He's just the assistant manager. Also, it's been called an auxiliary manager, but they essentially have like the same purpose. Then Yuka comes in, hits him with her curse technique, ? The claws thing that she does. Then they both team up in this really well-drawn sequence where they just go at him, double teaming him, messing him up. But he's still able to fight back from this because it goes back to one of the other abilities that we were talking about earlier where he can make like a puppet using the flesh that he has gathered with the flesh stuffings of the Maternal Wraith's Fury. Catching them off guard with this, he's able to like stab Yuka in the shoulder. And it's like, I really want to see Yuka like thrive in this series. I don't know, for some reason I like her as a character. I think she has a lot of potential, but so far she's really being held back. I guess there's time for that, right? She will have her comeuppance, but right now it's like Tsurugi is just dominating everything. And that's fine too, Tsurugi's great. But after that, for some reason, Takeda just decides, I'm gonna bounce out of here. I lost a few marbles from my arithmetic set, so I gotta go home and look for them. This could be just him being senile or whatever, or he's just feels that this isn't a fight that he can really win right now. But as he's about to leave, we come back to Maru on the ground, whose third eye opens, and suddenly things start levitating. And it goes back to the first panel. I think this is just a neighbor in that vicinity experiencing the first effects of Maru's ability here. Now, I don't think this is his curse technique because his curse technique was like helping you find what's dearest to you or whatever. He says it in the first chapter. This seems to be tied to his third eye, which is like a Sumerian thing. So the Sumerians probably have like telekinesis to some extent because we saw that he blasted that child kidnapper guy in the first chapter with it. So this is probably an extension of that. And it's even possible that this might be some kind of unconscious defense mechanism because he doesn't really seem awake yet, unless he is about to wake up and then do something. But also this ties into him activating his abilities, which are linked to his brother Cross. And he didn't want to do that because if Cross figures out what's going on here, he's going to know that, oh, Maru got messed up. Maybe we can't trust the humans anymore, which is nonsensical because they know that they're going on these missions to fight against bad people or the cursed users. So yeah, Maru is going to get his hands dirty a little bit, but it's like, oh, if anything remotely happens, we got to kill the humans or we got to go to war with the humans. And it's like, if it's that sensitive, that's kind of nonsensical, but I'm sure there's going to be some kind of checks and balances to this. It is only the 5th chapter. If we do see a war, it won't happen until like chapter 20. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what Maru is going to do here with his implied Sumerian abilities. Oh, and also, if you were curious what this is, it's been in the background of my videos for a while now. Funko actually sent me these. So it's a Toji and a Gojo from the Hidden Inventory flashback arc, or at least I think it is, right? Is this? Yeah, this is Gojo and Toji from Hidden Inventory. And they're pretty sweet, right? This one has like a cool sticker on it, which, I don't know, maybe you can't get that anymore. Not really sure, but they sent it to me in this Funko Anime Your Way box. And, whoops, yeah, it opens up like that. Looks pretty cool. And it came with this thing, which said, I don't know, share this. So buy Funko Animate Your Way, guys, because I'm taking this down for my background. I fulfilled my obligations now. But anyway, if you liked the video, guys, please give it a like. Please subscribe. I'm always reviewing Jujutsu Kaisen. Season 3 is coming up in January. Obviously, I'm going to be covering that. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Have a great day.